Hello and welcome back. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth, and today we're going to be playing Balancing Act. And you can see Sleuth there trying to balance himself on a, tightrope between a couple of buildings, puzzles, all very confusing at the moment. Now I think the name looks like it's really well established because we're playing something that's all about zipper lines, and if you're not familiar with those variants, we're going to take a look at those in a second. The other thing I want to mention, though, before we actually take a look at the puzzle, is back-to-back 100% rating. So going from, I don't think I'm exaggerating in saying, having never seen a 100% rating to seeing two puzzles being rated 100%. Now, this doesn't exactly come as a surprise with the constructors, FullDeck and Missing a few cards. They certainly deserve that 100% rating a lot more regularly than they have achieved it so far. So really looking forward to today's puzzle. 1-star difficulty rated, as you come to expect on a Monday morning puzzle. Speaking of which, let's take a look at today's puzzle. Balancing Act, FullDeck and Missing a few cards. They usually say at the very top, Sudoku, zipper lines, Kropki Pairs. So essentially, standard variant, standard Sudoku rules. And if you're familiar with what all of these mean, then you know what to do. Link is in the description down below for you to play. On the off chance that you're not familiar with what these are, standard Sudoku, I think all of them would know this one. Place the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, every column of course, and then every 3x3 box. So fairly standard. Zipper line. So along the zipper lines, these are all the magenta lines, by the way, pairs of digits equidistant from the center of the line have the same sum. For zipper lines of odd length, that sum is this central digit on the line. So if you take this magenta line here, this zipper line, it is 5 cells long. Essentially, this center digit is the sum of each of the pairs. Let's say it's 5. Then obviously to get to 5, you can pair up 1 and 4. So 1, 4. You could obviously pair up 2 and 3. And you'll understand why in a second, why I very deliberately placed them as such. But essentially, that would be a valid fill for the zipper line. Think of it as you're starting from the middle and you're zipping up. And as you're zipping up, these groups of digits are being brought up together, have to have the same sum as kind of the start of the zipper line. Now, obviously, if you have even digits, kind of length of lines, we don't know what the sum is. We're not actually having to write it, but we know that this 2 cells is equal to the same sum as these 2 cells. So in addition to the zipper line, we've got Kropki pairs. So digits separated by a black dot are in a 1:2 ratio, and digits separated by a white dot are consecutive. You can see I very deliberately made my pick here. So if this is a 2, this will be 1 or 4. Essentially, one cell is double the other. And if this is a 4, this cell would have to be 3 or 5 so that they are consecutive. No mention of, what's the word here? No mention of negative constraints. I'm going to assume they don't apply. So in essence, that means if there is a 4 and 8, clearly in a 2:1 ratio, is a 4 and 3, clearly consecutive. If there is no white dot and no black dot, that's going to be allowed under today's rule sets. So, as always, if you want to play along, link will be in the description down below for you to do so. And with that said, I'm going to restart the clock and see how I get on. And actually, box 1 is not a bad place to start. Reason I'm saying that is, essentially, if you kind of think about it, I'm going to use letters briefly. This is A and B. Now, for them to sum up to the same sum, these 2 cells have to be, what am I trying to say? This cell, C, and this cell, D. D and C can only be 1 away because A and B are only 1 away. Hopefully that makes sense, because clearly they're consecutive, so these 2 have to be consecutive, otherwise they don't stand a chance of coming up to the same sum. B and D, C and A have to come up to the same sum. Now, if you think about black Kropki dot digits for a second, don't need letters anymore. They are 1, 2, 2, 4, 3, 6, 4, 8. Which one of these black Kropki dots can be consecutive? It can only be 1, 2. Now, I've already demonstrated 3, 4 in here. It allows me to get away with as low as 5, and obviously it can go all the way up to 9, can't it? Yeah, because the only constraint is these are consecutives, which is not much of a constraint at all. And then I have 3, 6, 4, 8. Obviously, it could also be 4, 8, 3, 6. So, and in fact, it could even be 4, 2, 3, 6. So, not helping my case here. Maybe box 1 is not the place to start. And it isn't, because row 6 is the place to start. Right. This cell here, actually, I'm going to do this very quickly. I'm going to mark out the centers of all of the different lines, so I don't have to worry about this later. And then I'm going to draw your attention to row 6, and in particular this zipper line. Now this zipper line is saying these two pairs, the blue pair, the yellow pair, and the red pair all have the same sum as whatever's in here. 3 different pairs at a minimum, which means this can only be 7, 8, or 9. But which one of these can be on a black Kropki dot? Here's our first digit. Can't believe it took me 2 minutes. It can only be the 8. Right, and therefore this has to be a 4. These two cells cannot be on the zipper line, and essentially they can only be 4 and 9, because a 4 in either of these would require a double 4 to add up to 8, of course, and 9 would require a negative 1, neither of which is allowed. So that tells me the 4, 8 in row 1 can't be in here. It's got to be in there, which means this has to be a 9 for it to be bigger than what's on the zipper line. Obviously, it's got to be bigger. So therefore, this would have to be 1 and 5 to add up to the 4 and 8 to get to 9. That also gives me 4. That also gives me 9. Lovely. This cell now is not 8 or 9. It's 5, 6, or 7. And therefore, this is 3, 4, or 5. Is that correct? We just think this through. 3, 4 would give me 5. 4, 5 would give me 6. 5, 6 would give me 7. So I'm not sure I can even force a digit on here. I can force a 5 in one of these 3 cells, because if it's 3, 4, it adds up to 5. And then the other options include 5, 4, 5, 5, 6. Right, this is not 4, 8, 1, 2. It can only be 3, 6. Yes, which makes this 6. Sorry, I was just thinking about this, if that even makes sense. But yeah. Let me explain. Where is this cell in row 1? Well, it can't be in here, where it's already in the same box. It's clearly different from 4, 8, and 9, as well as 1 and 2. So the only place that's left is in here, with a 6, and therefore this is 6, and therefore this is 3. And now we have 5, 7 paired in row 1 in there, and then these two cells are 4, 5, plus the 1, 2 to get to 6. These are now adding up to 10, so 4, 6, can't be 3, 7, can't be 2, 8, it can only be 1, 9. Notice, of course, when we don't actually have to write the digit in the middle of this zipper line, it can actually be a 2-cell sum, which is not brilliant, because obviously any of these could be a 2-cell sum, and therefore you can get away with zipper lines that have a sum in the middle. You can always do things like say it can't be a 9 in the branches, so to speak, but clearly we've just demonstrated that's not a problem otherwise. This cell is not 4 or 8. It can also not be 1, 2, because it would break this cell. It can also be not 2, 4, because it would conflict. So I'm going to say this has to be 3, 6. Is that really right? It's not 4, 8. I already showed why 1 doesn't work, and 2 doesn't work because that can't be 4 or 1. It would break this cell or this cell. So yeah, I'm left without 1, 2, 4, or 8. This has to be 3, 6. Okay, and therefore the sum in here, well, it's obvious now, because the 3 would require a 5, which is impossible. The 6 would require a 2, which is possible. That can't be a 4, that's a 1. And then this 3, 6, well, this not 3, 6 could be basically anything. In fact, this is 3, 6, because that, I mean, it can't be 1, 2, or 4. If it is 8, that would be a 4, which would immediately conflict. So that's another 3, 6 pair. And this cell now is something. Must be easier stuff left on. Actually, hang on. Like, yeah, column 5, that's 7. That's 2, 5. Obviously, the largest remaining digit in column 5 has to be in the zipper line middle, and therefore these two pairs add up to 2, 5, add up to 7. Hasn't really helped me though. So I'm kind of feeling, actually, there's no 3 in here. There's no 3 in there. There's a 3 in there. These are from 7, 8, 9. Right, let's just... Essentially, what I was trying to avoid is having to think about this zipper line to think about what this black Kropki dot is, but it's just not possible. So these two cells are a maximum of 2 away. 7 and 9. And therefore, this cell is either 1, 2, 4, and obviously it can't be 5 on a black Kropki dot, or 4. Now, if it's 1, that would essentially be 7, 9. That would be 2. I'm not seeing the problem with that. If it's 2, essentially it'll be an 8 in here joining one of 7 or 9. And then this will be 1 or 4. Yeah, I'm not helping myself. I'm just going to... It's basically all of 1, 2, 4, 8. So I'm not getting why this is helpful. We know what these pairs are. So essentially there is either a 3, 5 pair, which can only be in here, 3, 5, or a 1, 7 pair, and the 1 would have to be there and the 7 in here. Sorry. And there seems to be no real restriction on 1, 7 or 3, 5 in here, so I'm not going to pencil mark this. I'm not feeling like any of this is helpful, if I'm honest. Oh, feels like a massive distraction. How about over here? What do I know about this? So I have, well, 2 can only be in there. 6 is only in here. And then I have 3 and 7. Is that fair? I think so. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah. So this cell is 3 or 7. Right, and it can't be 3 because essentially it would add up to 4. And then I need a different pair that isn't 1, 3 that adds up to 4, and that's going to be impossible. So that's going to be 7. That means that can't be 6 because that would need to be 2, which is not available. So that's not 6. That's 6. That's 2. That is a digit, a 3. And then to add up to 8, that has to be 5. Of course, that 6 gave me 3, gave me another 6, gave me 7, gave me 1. And that is helpful because that's given me 2, 1. The 2 could be connected to a 4. The 4 cannot be connected to a 2, but it can be connected to an 8. There's a definite 4 amongst these two cells, which we kind of knew. Yeah, we definitely knew with Sudoku, so no big reveals there. 9 is not here, 9 is there, 6 is here, 8 is there. That gives me 4, 2. So these two cells have to be consecutive. Actually, that's not a 3, that's the 3. Therefore, this is 7, 9. For it to be consecutive, I need an 8 in here. Given this is 2 and 3, they're only 1 apart. These can only be 1 apart. And then I've got 1, 2, 3. I need 5, 7, 8. This is not 5 or 8, that's 7. This is 5, 8. Is that result 5, 8? Yes, it is with 4, 5. That's 8, that's 5. These 3 digits are 1, 2, 3. Lovely. 1, 2, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 are all in the column. So the only kind of black Kropki dot digits available is 6 and 8, which means this will be 3 or 4 for that matter, both of which is allowed. And then 6 with 1, 2, or 3, and then something else that is relatively close. Again, no more than 2 digits away. In here, I have 5, 7, 8, 9, all of which is within 2 digits of 6 and 8, so it's not hugely helpful, to be fair. And then I have another 6, 8, and then another 7, 9. None of this is helpful now. In box 7, I kind of have to move on. This is another 1, 9 to complete row 4. These two cells, we know what they are. They are 3, 5, not resolved. And then I have 2, 8, no, 2, 7. Okay, still not resolved. If this is 6, that would be 3, that would be 6, possible. If this is 8, that would be 4. That would have to go back up to 8 because 2 is not available with the 2, 5 pair. I mean, long story short, these two cells are the same. 3, 6 not allowed in here. So this is from 1, 2, 4, 8. Aside from that 2, I really don't have a lot to go on here. 5 is in one of these two cells, not very useful. There's a lot of not very useful things on the screen. I'm not really sure what's going on here. 2, 3, 7, I'm going to say. Right, this is a bit more challenging. Oh, not 7. So this could be as much as 5 away or as little as 1 away. And am I going to have to pencil mark all the options? I don't want to do that. Thing is, like, I'm not seeing, unless I'm missing some obvious Sudoku, which, to be fair, sounds exactly like me. That's not 7. I'm not seeing a more fruitful course. That'll be a little bit easier. So what am I missing? Another 3, 4, another 6, 8, a 1, a 9. Yeah, not getting it. Maybe the black Kropki dot is going to help me more than I think. So let's try this. This is not 2. This is 1, 4, or 8. 1 in here would require 2 in there, which is fine. That can't be 2 because I've got a 2, 5 pair. So that can't be 1. This is 4 or 8. 4 would require an 8 in here because, again, 2 is not available. 8 would require a 4 in here. So this is a 4, 8 pair. That's 3, that's 6, that's 6, that's not 3. 4, 8. Now this surely is starting to get interesting. 4, 8 pair gives me a 1, 5 pair in here. Then I have another 4, 8, which, to be fair, could really be on here, given I could have 3, 7 in there, and they would be 4 apart. If it is in that, let's just think about what are the remaining options. It's not 1, so another 4, 8, and 6 and 9. The 6 is just placed. This is not 4, 8. I mean, I don't know why I suggested it, because there was already 2 of them in the row. So this is 9, and this is 4, 8. Excellent. Now, I was going to say that forces this to be a 4, but it doesn't. So it's either 1 away, or it's 5 away. 9 to 8 or 9 to 4. That can't be a 7, because that's the bigger of the 2 digits. That would basically make this 16, and then there's no way I would get to 16. So that's not 7, that's 2, 3. This is the bigger digit, so that's the smaller digit. That's 2, that's 3, that's 8. We're adding up to 11, that's 4, that's 7. And finally some progress. 2 removes the 5. This now becomes a 1. This becomes a 4, 4. This is not 1 or 3, that's 2, that's 3. That's all lovely. 6 and 2 is adding up to 8. Well, I mean, we already completed Sudoku, so that's a 7. That's not 7. This is an 8, 9 pair. That is 7. Now, obviously, the zipper line, when I removed that 7 option, probably I could have used it earlier. This is the smaller digit of the two. So that's the 8, that's the 9, and once again we are adding up to 11. Lovely. And a bunch of Sudoku in here to finish, probably. For example, let's just do some Sudoku. Come on, Sleuth. 4, 7? No, 4, 5. That's 4, that's 5. 8 and 9, not resolved. No, hang on, 5, 1, 5. This is another 8, 9. Then I have a 1 and an 8, 9. And that is not resolved. Okay. I'm going to say just Sudoku left now. Just Sudoku, hang on, there. 4, 8, meaning 5, 1, meaning 5, 4, if I can type, meaning 1, 9, 1, not 1, 8, 9 pair is 1, and now just Sudoku left. 3 gave me 5, 3 gave me 7, 5 gave me 7, 2. The 8, 9s must be resolved somehow, aren't they? No, they're kind of resolved from this column. Okay. Right. What do I need in here? I need a 4. It could only be in here. This is 8 or 9. It's not 9. That's 8. That's 9. 8, 9, 8, 9. And if I've not made any mistakes, 2 for the finish. Pleasurable puzzle as ever from these two. I guess, like rating of puzzles is very subjective. I've enjoyed this no more, no less than many of their other great puzzles. So if this is 100%, there are many, many other full deck and missing a few card puzzles that deserve 100%. Regardless, I hope you guys enjoyed the puzzle and the video, and I'll see you back soon. Bye-bye for now.